All right. Game week, game week, game week. I am pumped. Thursday night, you know what we got to do, WVU fans. Our Mountaineers travel up down there to Pitt, handle our business. But before we do that, I have a special guest on today's show with me. This guy has the hottest podcast show and growing podcast show in the entire country. It's growing really, really fast. He's a really, really huge West Virginia fan of our university, obviously of our illustrious program. Really good guy. So today on Relatively Sports with Eugene Napoleon, we have none other than Golden Blue Dude. Unbelievable to have you on my show, Relatively Sports with Eugene Napoleon. None other than the Golden Blue Dude, the fastest growing podcast show in the entire country, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. College football season already here, finally here. You know what? The crazy thing is usually the off season seems like it drags and drags, but for whatever reason, maybe it was conference realignment or whatever, but it went by a little bit faster this year. Is that just me or did that happen to you too?
No, I feel the same way. I feel the same exact way. Listen, man, I got so many things on my mind to ask you, but one of which I think is a legitimate question. You got into this space a few years ago, correct?
Yes, sir.
And well over 10,000 subscribers, correct?
Yes, sir.
First off, congratulations for that feat alone. But more importantly, I love the content that you put out because not only is it on point and it's very, very accurate, you don't just cover, of course, our illustrious WVU, you cover college sports, which I love. What got you into that and the passion behind it? What got you into that?
Honestly, at a very young age, I started watching college football. I can remember my very first game that I ever watched. I believe it was West Virginia, Louisville, 1988, the national championship year. So I was lucky the first year that I started watching West Virginia football. It was the year we went undefeated, went to the national championship. So I'm thinking, that's my team. I didn't realize that's not an every year type of thing. West Virginia going to the national championship, but we've had some really, really good teams. And then in 93, we went undefeated, should have went to the national championship, but we were snubbed out of that. And, that's how it started. And it's just grown and grown and grown. And I started looking into other fan bases. I really got into other stadiums because when you live in a bubble, you don't realize how different your team, your fan base, your stadium, your brand is from everybody else until you start looking at everybody else. You're like, whoa, this is pretty cool. I didn't realize everybody was so different. So it's just kind of, blossomed into what it is today.
Dude, I am so, again, you have no idea how excited I am to finally have you on my show, because
the honor is mine. Seriously, like to hear you saying the things that you're saying to me, I'm like, is this real? My dream, like Eugene, you're saying it's an honor to have. No, it is an honor for me to be on your show. Absolutely. Meeting you, talking to you. Hopefully we'll be able to go to a West Virginia game together in person soon. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
The honor and privilege is all mine.
I'm going to tell you something. You pretty much inspire, not only, see, for me sitting in New Jersey, I feel like I'm at home when I watch your show, because I know what I'm going to get. And what I love about it, you've always been, like I said, right on point and right up front about the information that you give. These podcast shows, everybody has a podcast show nowadays, everybody. But here's the key. The good ones like yours, and the reason why you're so successful, because not only is it informative, it's inspiring. I love watching what you do, the passion behind it. So you just don't get on here and just start talking. The research that you put into it, the information that you provide to people, that stuff is very important, man. And it's not just from a biased perspective. When you break down stats and things of that nature, you know exactly what you're talking about. To me, that's why I love your show. And that's why it's one of the hottest freaking podcasts in the country. And that's why I'm saying what I'm saying about you. I'm honored to have you on, my guy.
You know, that there's a big reason behind what I do, or what I do, how I do it, all that stuff. Um, a lot of people, they look at ESPN, they look at the preseason polls and the polls throughout the season, and they use that to guide their thoughts. And then at the end of the season, oh man, we didn't expect that team to be good or that team to fall off. And I'm like, you know what? I need to, try to help people understand why certain things happen. So that's why I do the research, and then I form my opinion. And I'm human. I'm wrong sometimes. I mean, it happens, but I point out things that maybe somebody wouldn't have gotten if I hadn't pointed out. Like, okay, great example. A couple of years ago, uh, the rivalry between Oregon and Oregon State. Oregon was a huge favorite in that game. I think Oregon was like a 17-point underdog. I predicted Oregon State to win that game because when I looked into it, Oregon had a terrible run defense and Oregon State had a really good run game. Everything else was about the same. Oregon had slight edges, pretty much all over the board, but there was one big edge that Oregon State had in that game, and that was run game versus run defense. And it was at Oregon State, and that's why I was confident that Oregon State was going to upset them. There's little nuances, there's little matchups that you have to look into. Last year, Kentucky, I predicted Kentucky to go from 5-6 to finish second in the SEC East. Everyone's like, you're crazy. Did you not see Florida? Yes, I did. Did you not see Florida in the bowl game whenever all their starters who were going to the NFL was out? That's your Florida team. You're going to fall to probably fourth or fifth. No, that's not going to happen. We weren't inspired, blah, blah, blah. What happened? Kentucky finished second. Florida fell tremendously. There's things out there that gives you hints, clues, direction as to where your team is going to go.
And again, see, that's what I'm talking about. And this is exactly what I mean. Not only knowledgeable, but putting it together and making it where the fans understand it. There's a reason why they always say sometimes players don't always make good coaches.
Right.
Because through a player's lens, you're looking at something that he's accomplished on the field at a particular position. He's trying to see that in his other players. He's not actually coaching as much as he's looking at this guy should make this cut or make that throw because I was able to do it. Doesn't work that way. You literally have to coach and be able to find and find what that guy does well, and then bring that out of him. And you put that with the nucleus of the rest of the team, and you may have a good shot of winning some games. Speaking of which, I want to dive into this. What do you think about Thursday night at Pitt? What are some of the keys that you think we need to do to come out victorious in that game?
Okay, so if you would have asked me this back in December, after the 2021 season, West Virginia going 6-6, Pitt going 11-3, ACC champs, I'm like, oh man, this looks bad. They're probably going to beat us. The crazy thing about this offseason was things happened that changed my mind about West Virginia. Of course, I'm a fan, and I was, hopeful that we could beat Pitt. Wasn't confident about it. So as the offseason went, of course, Kenny Pickett off to the NFL, right? And then we find out that we get Graham Harrell from USC, and I looked into his body of work, and it was very impressive. He then attracts JT Daniels. Pitt loses Mark Whipple, their offensive coordinator, and then Jordan Addison, the best wide receiver in the nation, transfers from Pitt to USC. So a lot of things happened in the offseason that completely changed my mind. I'm very confident that West Virginia is going to win this football game. Keys. The biggest thing is hopefully the safeties get comfortable quickly, because here's the thing. Our defense is going to be good. Front seven, probably our strength. We have great leaders at the linebacker. I know Hakeem Mesidor on the defensive line, transferred to Miami, big blow, but we have excellent depth on the defensive line. So trust our front seven. Cornerbacks are going to be a pleasant surprise this year. Charles Woods, lockdown corner, in my opinion. And that's one of the reasons why our former starting cornerback, Nick Troy Fortune, transferred to UTSA because Charles Woods flat out beat him. We're going to have Wilson Lamp more than likely on the other side. Not worried about the cornerbacks. So my main focus is going to be the safety positions. And, you know, I really have my eyes on Marcus Floyd, the transfer from Murray State, because he's a hybrid. He's a smaller frame. He's labeled as a linebacker / safety, smaller frame. I think he's going to be used more as a safety, and his speed is really going to showcase. So really the question might be just one safety spot if they're going to be comfortable. I think Marcus Floyd is going to be fine. That's the defense. Safeties is the key. As long as they get comfortable fast, our defense is going to be amazing. Not really worried about that. And that's why I mentioned what I mentioned earlier with Pitt. Kenny Pickett, top 5 quarterback, gone. Best quarterback they've had since Dan Marino, in my opinion. Caden Prather, game changer. Not just his abilities, but the way defenses scheme. Oh man, we got to cover this guy. So that means all your other wide receivers are going to be open because he's going to be double covered a lot. And so those losses, that helps our defense a lot. So I think we will be able to get comfortable fast on defense. I'm really not worried about the defense, but if there's any key to the game for the defense, it would be the safeties. For the offense, I'm hearing right tackle might be rotated. That might be the one weakness on our offensive line, but we do have all 5 starters coming back. If you watched them last year, they did get better and better game by game after the bye week. That was encouraging. Doug Nestor, from what I'm hearing, he's been a beast in the offseason because he doesn't have that hand cast, and he's been mauling people. So that's an encouraging situation. And Wyatt Millam, they're saying, man, this guy has taken a big step forward this year. So I'm encouraged by that. Of course, quarterback situation. Last year, our quarterback was Jarrett Doege, right? So,
Absolutely.
Of course, we heard earlier that JT Daniels coming into West Virginia, right? And almost immediately, Jarrett Doege announces out. He's transferring out. So, and I don't like to look down on people or highlight their deficiencies or their flaws or anything, but just to make a point, he transfers to Western Kentucky. Didn't win the starting job there. Transfers to Troy. Found out today didn't win the starting quarterback position there. That was the quarterback that we were working with last year. The difference between him and and JT Daniels, how long do you have? It's night and day. The words of Neil Brown were weathered, seasoned. Just knew what he was doing. Didn't really have to coach that much into him. So he knows what he's doing. Isn't fazed by any defense. You get the same JT Daniels play after play after play, no matter who you're playing, no matter if the play went good or bad. You get the same JT Daniels every single play. Very consistent. The only thing you have to worry about with JT Daniels is injuries.
Injuries, right.
Right. And I think at West Virginia, he's going to be fine because if you look at the track record between Georgia and West Virginia, Georgia has a bunch of injuries in the offseason year after year after year. For West Virginia, they actually have a pretty good injury report under Neil Brown. Last time a quarterback got injured was Will Grier under Dana Holgorsen, and it was his own doing whenever he dove for that touchdown against Texas and dislocated his pinky. So we have a really good repertoire when it comes to injuries. I think we will be able to keep him healthy, and that's going to be a big key. A big thing that I like this year compared to last year, and I know a lot of people were down, Winston Wright Jr., our leading receiver. Technically, yes. But if you look at the entire wide receiving core, there was a bunch of receivers that were close to him. It was like a bunch, and he was just a few more yards than everybody else. And it wasn't even that much yards, like 688, something like that. Not a lot of yards. So, he was a good receiver, but to label him, oh man, our best receiver, leading receiver, yeah, only by a few yards. And I disagree. He was not our best receiver. I think our best receiver is going to be Caden Prather. I think this dude is going to take a massive step forward. We saw him get better and better. I think he'll turn into JT Daniels' favorite target, but you still have Bryce Ford Wheaton and Sam James. It's going to be that trio right there, fear in the opposing defenses. So for the Pitt game, defenses are going to be very similar. Pitt's strength is going to be their front seven.
Right.
Their secondary is actually much weaker than West Virginia's, much. So if we can open the top of that defense, those linebackers are going to have to go back and help the secondary, and then that opens up the front, and boom, the running game. And JT Daniels, what is he best known for? The deep ball. So I think the game plan is going to be establishing the run and taking the top off the defense. And we have every single piece of the recipe needed to beat Pitt. And then on top of that, this is not the same Pitt that we saw last year. They lost a lot of key pieces on the offense. Now the defense is going to be just as good, maybe a little bit better, not going to lie. But if you go back and watch that Pitt, their strength was their offense. They were scoring well over 40 points a game. So I really like the matchup. Last year, we averaged only like 25, 26 points per game. That's going to jump well into the 30s. I expect between 35 and 40 this year. And then our defense going to be about the same. We're going to allow between 20 and 25 points per game. I like our chances a lot.
It's funny that you said that, even with the score. I predict West Virginia 35, Pitt 24 on Thursday night. And similar to everything you just said, and again, thank you for breaking that down so efficiently. Because that's what I'm talking about, man. That's why
Once I start,
you.
I can't stop. I try, but I can't.
No, that's why I love you, because being that informative, and again, it helps the fans to understand through a totally different lens. It's the football IQ part of it. It's not just talking from an emotional standpoint, it's the IQ part of it. That's why your show is booming, my guy.
It's the obsession part of it. It's what it is.
I really appreciate where we are. And I think people are on Neil Brown, and they're thinking that, you have to win a certain amount of games. And I get it. At this level, yeah, it's this schedule is set up it's well set up for West Virginia to have a really good year. And I love the fact that we do have Pitt first, to be honest with you. They're ranked 17th in the country. Yeah, all that sounds good, but you still got to play the game.
Right.
So if we do what we're supposed to do early, and you come out of that with a victory, this could be interesting. What do you think? How does it sound to your ears if I say the first 5 weeks of the season, West Virginia is 5-0? Is that a realistic perspective? How does that hit your ears? I'm curious.
I like it a lot. The only one that I would be a little iffy, and it's only because of when and where the game is located, and that's the road game to Texas. I think Texas is going to be much better this year. That's a road trip that's following a road trip, a rivalry road trip, which I'm 100% sure we're going to win that game, because Virginia Tech is going to be horrible this year. So the only game that I would be, they could lose that one, would be at Texas, but the rest, yes, 100% agree. I can almost get, well, I don't want to say guarantee, but I'm very, very confident that West Virginia is going to start the season 4-0. Now, if they go 5-0, it's definitely believable. I just don't like where that game is placed on the schedule.
Right. Yeah, no, I feel you. I feel you 100%. I actually said, let me see, I think I said 10-2. Yep. And I know a lot of people felt that was really optimistic. 10-2. Yeah, I said it. And I'm going to stand on it. I believe we can literally come away with a 10-2 season this year, go into a big bowl game and actually win a freaking bowl game. Because I think what we have and what Neil Brown has put together staff-wise, I think he totally understands going into this year. He knows what he has. He knows what he has to do. He knows how to coach up all three phases of the game where it's consistent. And you hit something on the head with JT Daniels, which I do like. To win games at this level, you have to have a guy like him that's your single caller. He doesn't get too high. He doesn't get too low. His emotion stays even keeled throughout the course of the game, good, bad, or indifferent. If you're going to be that good on offense, you have to have a guy like him. Very calm. I love it. I love his demeanor. Defense, I'm with you. I think our guys up front is going to help our guys on the back end. And when you have two lockdown corners, it definitely does help your safety. It helps your safety. And because we have that going into game one, there's no doubt in my mind that collectively, with a really good offense, really solid special teams, a really dominant, defensive line with two amazing corners, there's no doubt in my mind that Thursday night is going to be, I'm not going to say a rout. I just said 35-24, somewhere in there. But it would not surprise me. You tell me, it would not surprise me if we hang 42 on Pitt. That would not surprise me. It really wouldn't.
No, it wouldn't. And we didn't we didn't discuss any of this before this show. And it's funny, your score prediction fit right where I think we're going to average and what we're going to allow. Because I think we're going to average between 35 and 40 points, and we're going to allow between 20 and 25. Your final score prediction was 35-24. So that fits right in there. Makes a bunch of sense. I like it. But I agree with you. And see, the thing is, if they still had Kenny Pickett, I would be way more nervous. Even losing Jordan Addison, that's just like piling it on. Kenny Pickett, similar to JT Daniels, to be honest with you. He was very even keel. He was a good quarterback. He didn't let his emotions get the best. Think about this. They lose to Western Michigan at home early in the season, right, but still end up the ACC champs.
Right.
That's a good quarterback right there. He didn't get too down and give, oh man, we lost. Season's done, guys. Pack it. No. He fired his guys up, rallied the troops. They did lose to Miami. I guess Miami just caught them on a bad week or whatever. But that happens as well. But they lose that leadership, and JT Daniels has that leadership. Now with Keaton Slovis, their starting quarterback, he has the skill set, but not the leadership. That's a big difference between him and JT Daniels. And I've asked a truckload of USC fans because I wanted to get an unbiased opinion from the fan base that has seen both of these. Without a doubt, JT Daniels. And they gave me a ton of reasons, but the main reason was JT Daniels doesn't change. Nothing gets to him. A score, a turnover, he's the same person after each and every play, and he knows what he needs to do the next play. It's next play. With JT Daniels, next play. That's all it is to him, which is a good thing. You need that mentality. That way nothing gets to you, and you know what to do next. That's what it comes down to. And with Keaton Slovis, he's a very good quarterback as far as skills, athleticism, but he don't have the leadership. And when he does make a mistake, he lets it beat him more than once. Absolutely. That one mistake turns into two mistakes, turns into three mistakes. And that's exactly what USC fans said.
Wow. We have about a minute left. Listen, please let me give you your flowers right now. Okay. I believe and listen, man, I believe moving forward, and I can't wait for this day to happen for you. Not only 10,000 subscribers is a lot, my guy, let me tell you something, and I predict this for you. After this football season, those numbers are going to skyrocket. Skyrocket. And here's the reason why. I can sit and talk football with you all day long. And again, it's because of the IQ. It's because of the research that you do. It's because of the informative stuff that you provide for the fans. It's very engaging. It's almost intoxicating to hear. I love it. And I know how I feel about football. I'm very passionate about it. And from an IQ standpoint, when you're able to give that type of information back to a player, you have no idea how much that just, I want to go run through a wall right now. So I want to thank you, man. I really do, from the bottom of my heart. I look forward to hanging out with you at an actual game in Morgantown. I look forward to you coming back on my show here mid-season, right before this. You got to come back on my show for sure.
I will, man. I had fun. You let me ramble on.
No, it's not rambling. You know what it is? I let you educate.
Nice.
It's not rambling, my guy. It's never rambling with you, and that's what I love about it. Listen, thank you so much, man. And we'll get together in Morgantown here throughout the season for sure.
Absolutely. I'll be there several times. So I'll definitely hit you up and we'll have to hang out.
Oh, no doubt about it. We'll definitely do that. Listen, man, thank you. Hey, Mountaineer fans, one of the coolest, greatest guys that you will ever meet, and you already know him because, again, Golden Blue Dude, the hottest show in the country right now, his podcast, and I'm honored to have you on my show, my guy. I'll see you soon.
We will be at the Backyard Brawl in person.
I'll see you soon. Let's go, Mountaineers.